The aftermath of the January 22 fire. Feasibility studies on the reconstruction process are done and work is underway. The initial date for reconstruction completion was set for February 2026, and the revised date of November 2026 is unlikely to be met.
The reality is that it may be beyond, November 2026. And therefore, the question that we must answer is, given the need that members had expressed of having a house, no matter the temporal structure, where they can meet and exercise their responsibility as members, what do we do?
Our view has been for the last year that the targets to complete the parliamentary building were ambitious at best and unrealistic at worst. And for those that were in the Chief Whip's Forum, I said then that my considered view is that the targets that were presented at that point, that Parliament would be completed by October 2026, were never going to materialize. And I think that that project will continue to be pushed out and also subject to funding requirements or provisions by National Treasury.
The focus now is to ensure that the alternative venue for House sittings is completed by the end of January next year.
The dome will be ready for occupation in January 2026. We are anticipating, because the reconstruction project is planned for completion in November 2026, but we have made provision in our plan for the dome that the dome can be there for 12 months, even up to 18 months, even beyond, should the project be delayed.
The cost for the repurposing of the dome has been revised from 40 million to 31 million rand.
In the revision of that, we have brought that amount down to 31.7 million rand, which we will get into in the more extensive presentation that we were done. And so we've achieved a saving of around 8 million rand through rationalizing the design and the exclusion of what we deem to be non-essential features.
Of the 31 million, the department wants to split the costs with Parliament.
We have suffered enormous budget cuts that we would propose contributing an amount of 15,883,000 rand, which we would deem to be a 50-50 cost-sharing model with Parliament and the department. So we are prepared to play our role to ensure that Parliament is functional, but that is obviously dependent on Parliament accepting that and also being put into their fair share, recalling colleagues that they spent 48 million rand on venue hire in the last year.
We are going to approach Treasury is the resource constraint, where Public Works says within their own resources, they can look an amount of the 50% that they would cover. But in order to complete even what has been presented to us today, they would request Parliament to come on board. And I do think that if we all agree that that's where issues are now, my proposal, Chair, and to you members, is that give us a 2 weeks period to approach Treasury to see whether within our budget, particularly as Parliament, we can be able to get a 15 million or 16 million that will be repurposed for this purpose.
Parliament says utilizing the dome will be costly in the short term, but will be a lasting investment.
If we are to go with the dome, we will be required as Parliament to procure AV and broadcasting equipment at a cost of 68 million. And that equipment will be owned by Parliament and transferred to the National Assembly and the Old Assembly, and some of which will be transferred to the committee rooms that have obsolete equipment. If a choice is to be made that we do not have to purchase the equipment, we will then have an alternative of hiring for 12 months at 14.2 million.
On its part, the Public Works Department says the dome can be used for future government events and state funerals once it has completed its mission in Parliament. Bulelani Philip, SABC News, Parliament.